live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the big show. It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce. How are you today? Welcome to Monday, December the 16th, the second last Monday before Christmas. Let me do that. My goodness, getting ready for Christmas indeed. Jen and I are here until the end of the month, and then we're heading down to Rancho Mirage, California. So this is my second last show. Yeah, no, third last show. I got to get my math together here. So next week's the 23rd, then it's the 30th. So we have two more shows, and then we're in California. Yeah, it's our second last show, third last show. Yeah, whatever. How are you? Welcome to the welcome to Monday night from Calgary, Alberta, where it's already dark out. The sun sets quite early this time of the year. Goodness gracious, we have sunrise and sunset times that are really depressing. Sunrise 8:35, sunset 4:30. These are the shortest days of the year right now, so you don't get that much daylight here. But starting next week, by the time I'm with you next week, we'll have turned the corner and we'll start to go the other direction. So this is the shortest time of the year for sunlight. Anyway, we're alive and we're well. We're doing okay in Calgary. I hope you're all doing well out there. You're getting all your holiday shopping done. You've planned for your holiday. You got a trip coming up or visitations, people coming to see you. You're going to see them, however you're doing it. And we're hoping that all of you will have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for joining me tonight. I noticed a couple of things are coming up. I believe it's the new year. We've got a new visa fee coming up for North Americans in particular, but I believe also people from around the world coming into Europe. There's a new £7 or €7. Yeah, it's a €7 visa fee, which I think is complete BS. I think that we are being nickeled and dimed by every government in every way because they're broke. They are afraid to tax their citizens taxes for services rendered, so they're nailing visitors to the countries taxes that won't eliminate anyone from office. And so the EU is imposing this €7 fee, which is going to run just a little over around 9-10 Canadian dollars, to enter Europe. I know there's a fee to come into the US. I'm sure there's a fee to come into Canada. I would personally just like to see them all eliminated and make travel a freedom and a right, not a privilege. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy who has no power. No one's going to listen to me. And we're going to have to pay. Speaking of paying, of course, I did talk about this a couple of weeks ago. The Mexican government apparently is not backing away from the idea of a $42 head tax per cruise ship passenger coming into any Mexican port. This fee is apparently all systems go, starting sometime, I think, next year. I'm convinced that this is only the beginning of a wave of fees that are going to be imposed on cruise ship passengers no matter where you go. I think that if you want to go to the Bahamas, there's already a fee that's being jacked up. Cayman Islands, they're jacking it up. Haiti, they need the money for their private island. Whether you're going to Dominican Republic or Dominica or Barbados, you're going to find that they're going to raise their prices. All of these countries are going to raise their prices, and that makes the cruise ships powerless to stop them. In the old days, and when I mean that, by that 15, 20 years ago, cruise lines could threaten countries with, we'll just go elsewhere, and we just won't come to your country. Well, all the countries, I think, are talking to each other, and they're watching each other, and it's all on social media now. In the 50s, the 60s, and 70s, all news was local. So whatever the Mexican government wanted to do was covered in Mexico. Whatever Jamaica wanted to do with taxation or whatever was covered in Jamaica. Today, News is international and it's on social media, which means everyone gets it and it spreads like wildfire. And so travel agents in the USA are freaking out about the $42 fee because they're worried about it costing travelers to go on cruises and commissions might be lost. And when Mexico instituted their tax, they announced their tax, it went global. Everyone in the world knows about it. Whereas in the 70s, had Mexico done a $5 a person entry fee for a cruise ship, no one would have cared outside of Mexico. It wouldn't have mattered anywhere else. But today, with all the cruise ships in the world running at full capacity or higher, this is an easy cash grab for countries. And in today's modern world, this is all done digitally. Before you get on the ship, you've paid the fee. The Mexican government will have no trouble collecting the money. The ship can't come in until it's prepaid its fee with all the head taxes already. So these governments don't have to send bill collectors to your house or to cruise line's house to collect the money. It's all electronically transferred, all automatic. It's as slick as it as can be. No counterfeit bills will be passed. It's all digital. And this is a great way for governments to just make a ton of money. And of course, for corporations. And why is it that you are being advertised to subtly and maybe not so subtly in the last few years to use your Visa card or your debit card? Don't use cash. And it's becoming more and more difficult to actually use cash in our everyday lives. And it's all digital. And that way, banks make money when you deposit it and when you withdraw it and when you spend it. And it's called making money with money. It's a wonderful system. And the tourist departments of all these countries are getting right into it for their piece of the pie. Interesting stuff. Thank you, by the way, to those of you who were watching my show last week about Calgary. I know last week's show was a bit of a departure where I wasn't talking about cruise ship news. I was just talking about my hometown. If you ever thought of coming here, why you might consider coming to this part of the world or what people do when they do come here. And thank you for those of you who have been sending kind messages to me after the show through messages and postings and emails. Appreciate that very much. Today's show, what I wanted to do today with you was to talk to you about one particular cruise. And only one particular cruise. And it's going to start in a few weeks, actually. None of us are going to be on it. But I thought, I'm going to preview this cruise with you today to give you an idea what this cruise is all about. This is one of those, I would say, for a lot of people, this is one of those bucket list trips that some folks are lucky enough or bold enough to take. 99.999% of the population will never do this trip. They won't have the money. They won't have the time. They won't have the health. They'll be too ill. They just don't want to be away from home for the length of time, or they don't want to be on a cruise ship for the length of time this cruise is going to take. And so, with all that having been said, I thought I would show you this particular cruise, 162 days long. And it's basically pretty well, almost, not quite, but an around the world cruise. And I thought I would show it to you. Got some photos, got some images, got some pricing, and I'll fill you in on it. But first, let's say hi to anyone who's already here saying hi to me. Tom Kaufman is the first here. Good evening. Thank you, everybody who's already hitting the thumbs up button for us. Kelly Haston, how are you? Sharon is here. Hi from rainy central New Jersey tonight. I'm number 5 thumbs up. The author won't be here tonight. He's in New York City for a corporate holiday party. Meanwhile, I've been busy watching as many movies with Golden Globe nominations as I can. It's my favorite time of the year. Movie awards season. Kirk Brunson is in the house. Hi, Bruce and TW family. Kirk from New York City is here at home. Had my wisdom tooth extracted on Thursday and took off a couple of days to recover. Good move. Sharon, heal quickly, Kirk. Kirk is saying, thanks, I'm going back to work tomorrow. Sharon, the good thing about the rain is that we're now in a drought watch. as opposed to a drought warning we've had for the last month or so. So there's been rain up there. Kirk Brunson, YouTube, Facebook channel, we love you. Sharon, we won't be here on the 30th. We're going to Bermuda for the onion drop on New Year's Eve. Fantastic. Shane, Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you, Shane. We got Wes Morrison. Hello, TWB. Today in Texas, it's 73 degrees. 13 days from today is my Hawaiian cruise from Los Angeles. Right on, man. And Sharon, happy Hanukkah, everybody. I love the fact that both holidays are happening at the same time this year. Anthony on the move is here saying hi, everybody. Sylvia's in the house, number 11. Hello, Bruce. TWB family, Ms. M, number 12 tonight. Hello, all. It's good to be back here. Sylvia, I'm working on a Christmas gift, diamond dots coasters while listening. Kirk Brunson, number 14 with the thumbs up tonight. Shane, $42 fee seems steep. It's going to have an impact on cruisers spending when they set foot on land. Sylvia, I enjoyed the history and information about Calgary you did last week. And then Kirk, happy birthday to Tom. Well, thank you all for everyone who's here. Thank you to everyone who's wishing everyone else a happy birthday and a happy holiday. Fantastic that you all joined us. Yes, Calgary is landlocked. We're not on a lake or a river. We're on the Bow River, but we're not on the Mississippi or anything like that. And so to get here, you drive here or you fly here. That's about it. But you can drive through town. You can come from Vancouver here to Calgary and keep right on going after visiting us and head all the way to Toronto or the Maritimes. The Trans-Canada Highway goes right through this city. But most people who are from far, far away, they fly here. And you could fly right here direct from European cities nonstop and vice versa. And Calgary's International Airport is a busy place. And we have visitors who come from all over the world. Many come here multiple times in their lifetime. Because once you've experienced Western hospitality like Calgary, you want more. And you come back and get more. Tom, if he's here, happy birthday to Tom Henry. If he's here, ask or says Kurt. I don't know, Kirk, if he's here. I haven't seen him yet. But if you're here, Tom, and you're watching on the rerun, if it's your birthday, buddy, way to go. All right, let me show you some information about this worldwide cruise I came up with today. Let me show you this big map and see if you can make sense of it. This actual trip begins in Los Angeles, and it ends in New York. So it's not quite around the world, but awful darn close. And you can tell by leaving LA, the first stop is in the area of Hawaii. And if I bring up this little picture, here you go. You can now see just underneath my logo for my other channel, which I will now eliminate. You can see Los Angeles up there. Let me get the there it is, the TWB logo up there. So just under the TWB logo is LA. And you'll note that the ship is headed to Oahu and Kauai, and then down into the French Polynesian area, Cook Islands, then New Zealand, Australia, and then over to Indonesia and Singapore and Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Maldives, over to the Seychelles, Mozambique, Tanzania, over to Madagascar, South Africa, a few stops, Namibia, and then all the way up towards back up towards Europe. And let me show you a better angled photo here of this portion of the trip. So Angola at the bottom of the map, then Cape Verde and Casablanca, Seville, Portugal, Spain there, English Channel, and into London, all around the UK, over to Norway, up to Longyearbyen in Norway, and then over to Iceland, all around Iceland, Greenland, and then you end up coming back to New York City, and that's the trip. It's one heck of a journey around the world. Anyway, it's on this ship right here, the Viking Sky. This is the name of the ship. Now, those of you who are not familiar with this cruise line, Viking, and those who are, you know that these ships are identical. All of Viking ships are virtually identical as far as the ocean-going class is concerned. All rooms are balcony rooms. There are no inside cabins. And so you have front-facing balcony, rear-facing, and of course on both sides. The ship is, this particular ship was built in 2017, and it's 48,000 tons, gross tons, registered in Norway. It's 740 feet long, 95 feet wide, 930 maximum passenger capacity with 465 crews. So It's 2 passengers and 1 crew member. That's a very high ratio. It's not uncommon to go 3 to 3.5 people for a crew member on other cruise lines. So you're very well served here. All cabins are outside veranda balcony cabins. 47 are suites, and no children are allowed on the ship. It's an adult-only cruise line, 18 and over only. No children allowed. Now, this cruise begins on, if you look at the very top of this page, 162 nights departing January 5th, 2025. The balcony available right now, if there is one available, it's just under 81,000 American dollars. And this does include shore excursions at every stop, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages at every meal, and unlimited internet. I'm not sure if it includes a full booze package. It might. I have some more info on that. You can get a free world cruise amenity in select voyages. I'm going to show you that in a minute. This also includes port charges and government taxes and fees. But here's some extras you get if you signed up for this cruise. This is what you would also receive: a $500 per person onboard credit, which can be used towards spa services, onboard shops and laundry. So that's $500 a person. Minimum 2 people have to do this cruise. $1,000 a person shore excursion credit, which can be used towards optional shore excursions or overland tours. An additional $500 per person onboard credit for all Viking Explorer Society members. So that's a total of $2,000 in benefits per person if you sign up for the Viking Explorer Society membership. World Cruise exclusive amenities. They will provide you with business class air to LA and from New York. Ground transfers to and from the ship. Private car transfer. Owners the suite or Explorer suite. Prepaid gratuities and service fees are all paid for. A silver spirits beverage package, which tells me that it's an alcohol package anytime. Complimentary visa service, not sure quite what that means. Free luggage and shipping services for embarkation. And of course, they always offer 1 free excursion in each port, free Wi-Fi automatically, and alternative restaurant dining at no extra charge. There is no specialty dining. There's no booze required, no tipping required. And Wi-Fi included. So if you figure that out, if you figure, well, Wi-Fi can be 25 to 30 bucks a day per person from time to time per device. So that saves you 50 bucks a day there, times 162 days. So that's $8,000. Tipping is upwards of 30 bucks a day. That's included per person. That's $60 a person. 162 days. There's 10 grand. Then the drink package. Tell me, what is a typical drink package on Norwegian, Holland America, Royal Caribbean? Are we talking 40 a day, 50 a day a person, roughly? 50 a day is $8,000 on a 162 day trip. So this adds up to a ton of money. You get the ship credit for $2,000. And you add up the perks, and you realize that, well, this $85,000 deal, it does sound like $500 a day per person, but you take off probably 150 already included. There's no extras. In other words, you don't pay another 150 a day on top of that. Important safety tip: it's not a cheap cruise. This is not a discount. This is a unique one-off experience. The ship itself, of course, they're gorgeous. The Viking ships are wonderful. There are various areas to hang out in. Of course, your cabin is going to be great. You got a nice balcony with furniture out there. You're going to visit, various places. I will tell you a little story though about this ship, and you've been with me a little while. You'll remember this picture. Do you remember this picture? This is the Viking Sky. This is 3 or 4 years ago. This was off the coast of Norway, and the cruise ship had run into some mechanical issues. The Viking Sky engine room had reported a malfunctioning motor, and they were desperately trying to get the motor restarted when they were caught in a nasty, nasty windstorm. And the ship was being blown towards the shore because this ship got into trouble just offshore and was being blown back. The problem was it wasn't being blown back to the nice, stable port. It was being blown onto the shoreline where there were jagged rocks ready to tear her apart. And the cruise line put out the all points emergency. The captain did the right thing by dropping the anchor, and thankfully it caught the bottom of the sea and held the ship out at sea a little bit, about a mile offshore. And by the time it got really dicey, passengers were being evacuated by helicopter because it was impossible to put passengers on any kind of a lifeboat with this kind of sea conditions. People are being evacuated one at a time by helicopters with winches. By the time it got really scary, the engine room engineers had figured out that the reason the engine wasn't working properly is because somebody, when changing the oil, forgot to add oil into the engine. And they quickly added oil that they had on board onto the motor, into the motor. And I think they got her started again and were able to stabilize the ship's tilting with the ballasts. And they were also able to move the ship out to sea a safe distance away from the shore and bring her into a safe port. And all passengers on board this nightmare excursion thankfully were looked after. There were injuries, but they were all looked after by the cruise line, and everyone got their money back and a free cruise on top of that. I don't know if they received financial compensation in the end, but this ship was famous for a while for a dubious event. I can assure you that the folks at Viking won't let that happen again. They've probably put in some serious safety protocols to ensure this isn't ever going to happen again. But wow, what a thingy! Now let's just go back to this this map for a minute. You notice how the cruise starts in Los Angeles and then goes off to Hawaii. So let me show you now the itinerary here, and I'll just kind of put myself over here. You see that on Sunday, the 5th of January, these passengers on this ship, who are not going to be in that kind of weather, by the way, are going to leave the safety of Los Angeles, and they're going to begin looks like a 5-day crossing at sea to Honolulu and then to Nawaliki, I can't pronounce it, to Kauai on the next day, 11th and 12th of January. Then another 5 days at sea, and the ship will end up in Bora Bora, the Society Islands, Moorea, Papati, Tahiti. And looking at the map, you can tell here that you leave Hawaii, head south, and you're now in French Polynesia and the Tahiti area. Then over to the Cook Islands. You're going to visit Rarotonga, Cook Islands, on Wednesday, the 22nd of January, another couple of sea days, and you're going to cross the international date line, and then you're going to end up in the Bay of Islands in New Zealand. And there's the itinerary, leaving the Cook Islands, and now you are in the northern islands of New Zealand. And you can see a number of New Zealand stops all along, I guess, the east coast of New Zealand. That's going to be, of course, Auckland, Tauranga, Napier, Wellington, a couple more sea days, and then you end up in Australia, and you are in Sydney. And of course, Sydney being a world-class place, completely recognizable to almost anybody. There is the bridge, Sydney Bridge, and down at the bottom, just by my nose over there, I guess, is the Opera House. And you can see where the ship could be docking over there. Here's another angle of another shot. You see the bridge, and then behind the bridge is the Opera House. Sydney, a 2-day stop. This gives passengers 2 days to disembark and explore the city a little bit and spend the night every night. We got a sea day, and we're heading then to Queensland, a sea day to Airlie Beach and Cairns, Australia. So if I go back to the map, you can take a look right here. Sydney at the bottom of the map. Then you're coming up the Gold Coast area to Cairns, which is at the top of the Gold Coast. Then you're going up to Thursday Island and to Darwin. You can see that area up there. I think that's going to be shown, pardon me, right at the bottom of this thing right here. Yeah, there's Darwin on the 17th of February, Thursday Island on the 14th. A couple more sea days, and now you're in Indonesia, and you're going to spend a couple of nights in Bali. And Bali is a most beautiful place. Here's an image from Bali that is famous, one of the more famous photos that people take when they get to that area. Of course, while on the ship, you're going to enjoy the spa. You're going to enjoy that at no extra charge. There are no spa fees, none of that nonsense. You just pay for a massage if you want a massage. Of course, a sheltered pool if it's rainy or cool out. And in the back of the ship, if it's a nice warm day, you've got a hot tub and a infinity pool right at the back of the ship with the loungers. And there are, again, only 400 and was it no 900 and what's the number of passengers? 930 passengers, 465 crew to pamper you on board this ship. So you're going to be well looked after. They'll bring drinks out to you. There'll be snacks, all you can eat, all you can drink, all inclusive. Relax, enjoy, and have yourself a good time. Once you leave Bali and you work your way beyond that, you are going to end up here in Indonesia to Jakarta, a couple of nights there. And then on the 28th of February and the 1st of March, you are in Singapore, and that is right here. You're going to be in beautiful Singapore for a couple of days, and you'll be able to explore a little bit of the city. This is quite a bucket list cruise, I have to admit. The spots that they are taking you to are fabulous. So Sydney, couple of nights, Singapore, excuse me, the 1st of March, you leave Singapore. The 2nd of March, you're in the Strait of Malacca, and you're going to end up in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Then Penang, Malaysia for a couple of days. Phuket, Thailand, a couple of sea days. Colombo, Sri Lanka, another sea day. Then the Maldives, 3 more sea days. Victoria, Seychelles, a couple more sea days. And now you're in Mombasa, Kenya for a couple of days. Zanzibar, Tanzania, and then to a sea day to Nosy Be, Madagascar. And then you're in Mozambique and Richards Bay, South Africa, Durban, South Africa, East London, South Africa, Port Elizabeth, South Africa, and Cape Town. So take a look at this map here. You can see when we see the ship leaving Australia, there's Darwin going up to Bali, up to Singapore, to Phuket, Thailand, over towards through the Bay of Bengal, to Colombo, to the Maldives, then the Seychelles, then the east coast of Africa, Madagascar, the tip of the island, and down to South Africa, all the way around until you get to Cape Town. And you're going to spend 2 nights in good old Cape Town. And Cape Town, of course, is right here. This is a view of Cape Town with Table Mountain in the background. And that is a wonderful outing for the day. Beautiful views from up there, and I'm sure there will be some organized tours available. Safe, organized tours of Cape Town. Because there can be unsafe areas of Cape Town to go to, but I'm pretty darn sure you will not have an issue with Cape Town. There you go. That would be 3rd and 4th of April in South Africa. Now a sea day, you'd end up in Namibia for a couple of days, 3 days. 2 more sea days and a stop in Angola, Luanda, and then you have 6 sea days, your longest stretch at sea. You're going to end up in Cape Verde and São Vicente in Cape Verde as well. Going forward, a couple sea days and Santa Cruz, Tenerife. Let me show you that part. You see at the bottom of the map, there's Angola, and then coming up after those sea days to Cape Verde, and then a little further up onto Tenerife and towards Casablanca, Morocco. And that is where we continue here. Excuse me. There we are. Morocco for a couple of days. Casablanca in Morocco a couple of days. Then you're in Seville, Spain. Portimao, Portugal. Oporto, Portugal. And Vigo, Spain. And La Coruña, Spain. Let me take a look at those stops if we can. That'll be at the very top, just above Portugal, where Spain rejoins the Atlantic, and you'll be stopping there. And then you're heading over towards more towards the UK area. Let me double check that from here. There we go. Yes, we go from on Friday, May the 2nd, a sea day. Saturday, May the 3rd, you're on Honfleur, France. Dover on the 4th of May, and look at that. 3 nights in London, in Greenwich. You're coming up the Thames River, and you're spending 3 nights in London itself. That's going to be an interesting time. There's a shot of London. You see the London Bridge and all the other bridges over there. You see the Shard on the right, on the left side, that pointy building, the tallest building, I believe, in the UK, if not Europe. The financial district is on the right-hand side where all those skyscrapers are collecting there. And another shot of London, I believe, is here. Yes, that's another shot of London to take a peek at. Yeah, no, sorry, that's not London. I apologize. Oh, I'm going to make somebody mad. I don't want to do that. This, by the way, was, I believe, Morocco. No, Casablanca, if I recall. That might be Casablanca. Okay, that's London. This is Dublin. I got to be careful. I have a viewer that I do not want to upset with the wrong city. He's from Ireland, you know. Here we are. Once leaving London, you go to Dover again, then to Dublin, Ireland on the 10th of May. And this is Dublin here. Okay, whew, that was close. From there, you've got yourself quite a cruise going here. You're now really into the UK part of things. You're going to be to Holyhead, Wales on the 11th of May, Liverpool on the 12th, Belfast, Northern Ireland on the 13th, Ullapool, Scotland, Kirkwall, Scotland, Edinburgh, Ivor-Gordon, Lerwick, Shetland Islands. Then you're heading to Bergen, Norway, 3 nights. And you might ask, why would you spend 3 nights in Bergen, Norway? Well, that's because this cruise line is known as Viking Cruises, and this is the home port for Viking. This is their home country. And so there's a shot of Bergen from a lookout area that I believe you can get up to by a cable car, if I'm not mistaken. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. You're going to be spending a little bit of time in Norway. And what's wrong with that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're going to go from Bergen on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of May to Geiranger, Norway, a sea day, and your Narvik, Leknes, Tromsø, Hermsvag, I'm trying to pronounce this, and then this long one here, Longyearbyen in Spitsbergen, Norway. You try and say that really fast after a couple of cool ones. I dare you. You can't do it. Take a look at this map here. You can see the UK portion, and then over to Norway, go all the way to the top, and there is Longyearbyen, way up there. You're in the Arctic Circle, man. You are in the Arctic. And now you're going to come over to Iceland. You're heading east towards Iceland. And Iceland, if I'm getting this right, there we are. We have 7 stops for 7 days from June the 2nd to June the 8th in Iceland, which happened to coincide with the longest days of the year. And so sunset will be at 11 o'clock at night. Sunrise will be at 4 in the morning, and there's only 5 hours of darkness, if that. From Iceland, you're going over to Greenland for a couple of stops, believe it or not. You're going to catch these 2 spots here. I can't pronounce them. And then you're going to Newfoundland in Canada, to Longzao Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, Friday, June the 13th, Friday the 13th. Sea day, and you're in Halifax. And Halifax, a beautiful place. This, by the way, is Reykjavik in Iceland. Just kind of squeeze that photo in. Here is Halifax in Nova Scotia, and you can see the ships that are parked or docked right by the city downtown, right down by downtown there. And the old fort, you can see the fort here, the Halifax fort that was originally built. And then a day after that, one sea day, and guess what? You end up right here at the Big Apple. New York City, this is looking from the north down to the south. There's Central Park right in front of you there on the right. That is Central Park, surrounded by the east side, the west side. And there's the Lower East Side, the Upper East Side, whatever. And then you've got Midtown, where the Empire State Building is, and then all the way down to the bottom, where the financial district is located. So this is one heck of a tour. It ends on Tuesday, June the 17th in New York City, in Manhattan, and you have seen a chunk of the world. Look at this part of the map here, from beginning in LA to Hawaii, French Polynesia, the Cook Islands, to New Zealand, Australia, into Indonesia, over to Singapore, Malaysia, Phuket, Thailand, Jakarta is in there. Over here to Sri Lanka, Maldives, Seychelles, Tanzania, Kenya, Madagascar, South Africa, Angola, Namibia. Look at all these stops. And then coming up the coast of Africa here to Cape Verde, into Santa Cruz, Morocco, Casablanca, into Portugal, into Spain, and then into the UK. 3 nights in London, all around the UK, up into Norway, way up north to the northernmost spot you're going to get to. Iceland for 7 more days, Greenland and Halifax, and back to New York City. What an excursion that is. And like I said, this trip here is one of those very few people will ever take out of all the people in the world that exist. $81,000 base price, with a lot of freebies thrown in on top of that, including, as you see here, the credits, which add up to about $2,000 a person, business class air upgrades, ground transfers, prepaid gratuities, beverage package, luggage service, internet is included. Every port, you get a tour every port. So you could literally not spend a dime on any of the tours and just use the ship tours. You will have on-board guests come on board to tell you about what we're doing tomorrow, what you're going to be able to see. These Viking cruises are really a 6-star line with impeccable service, well-managed, well-run ships. Despite the little incident they had back in the day here, they'll never live that down. But what are you going to do? They recovered from it. The ship was fine. But yes, this ship here and the crew here will make you feel pretty special. And boy, you're going to miss this one and its service when you're off back home from this kind of a cruise. But yeah, what an experience. What an event. What a neat place to spend 162 days on. And talk about a world tour. You're not going to be bored on this ship. You're going to have so much to see, so many ports of call, so many incredible sights to be able to enjoy. 2 nights in Singapore, of course, and all the other stops. I'm only highlighting some of the key cities here, but 3 nights in London. Oh man, you can see a London show. You can do tours, Buckingham Palace. You can go to the War Museum. You can go to the National Museum. I mean, there's so much. You can go up the Shard and have a wonderful dinner up at the Shard. So much to see and do. Of course, Dublin. You got a whole day in Dublin, and then 3 days in Bergen. Oh, there'll be all kinds of things to do here. Absolutely fantastic. Throw in Halifax and New York for good measure. Enjoy yourself on a once-in-a-lifetime experience, to say the least. Unbelievable. Thank you, those of you who have been here hanging out the whole time. Thank you all. Let's see what else is going on here. Good evening all from Rayleigh Creative Travel. Sylvia, sometimes age 18 cannot be old enough. I consider 20, 21, and 22 to be an adult. I hear you there. Splair, my 7 day or less means 0 days. I would probably only go for 2 to 5 days due to my issue that I need a pet sitter. Splair, you're not made for a 162-day cruise. Not at the age you're at right now. You're not going to make it. We climbed the Sydney Harbour Bridge, one of our favorite memorial experiences ever, says Sharon. Sylvia, so when they get to Australia in February, is it summer there? Yes, it is. It's summer. Thanks for switching to that part of the list, says Blair. Let's see. Shane, where are you seeing that cruise info for Viking? I'm looking at vacationstogo.com. That's where I found this deal. If you were to try to book it with Viking directly, you might get discounts. You might not. I don't know. But anyway, that's where I found that deal. Sharon, Sylvia, yes, February, summer in Australia. Very sunny for London, says Blair. Let's see. Thanks, Sharon, says Sylvia. What else? Thank you all. We were in Alaska in July of 2015. I found the very late sunsets to be very disorienting. It's so late at night. And then the sun finally goes down, and then 4 or 5 hours later, it's coming up again. Yes, in the north, the very North Pole, the sun never sets in the summertime. It's up all day. Right now, the South Pole has no sunsets in the south. the opposite of what we have right now. There you go. What a heck of a cruise that would be. Can you imagine the memories you're going to have on something of that nature? A once in a bucket list cruise. And if you could afford to take that ship and go into one of the owner's suites where you have, like, 1,200, 1,400 square feet of space, really luxurious. That's a whole other world. But just a regular cabin with a balcony, thank you very much. I'm sure it would be quite lovely, and I think you'll make friends. You'll make lifelong friends on board a 162-day cruise, where you're visiting, you're seeing people for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. You're going to get to know some people, and you'll probably find that some of these folks have the very, very much the same interests that you have, and you'll share stories and memories. But hey, there's a bucket list trip for you to consider. I thought I'd bring that one your way today as it's a little travel experience. Jen and I will not be on this ship. We will be in Rancho Mirage, California on the 1st of January. We're going to hang out in that area we love to call Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage, California. That is our hood. We'll be hanging out here for 5 months from January till May. And we're on a golf course this year, again, in a condo on a golf course, looking at folks hacking away, trying to get things to work, trying to get the ball into the hole. And hopefully we'll be enjoying lovely sunshine and warm weather. Cross our fingers. But by the time we get there in January, the shortest days of the year have been had. They're just starting to come back. By the time March arrives, it warms up dramatically. You get into those mid to high 80s. And by the end of March and early April, you're now 90s and mid 90s, and it's pushing 100 already. May is definitely 100-degree weather. And I'm quite looking forward to it. So there you have it. But again, thank you, everyone, for joining me. Did you see my poll question tonight? Did you get a chance to answer that? I put out a question out there. How long have you been on? What's been your longest cruise ever? Thank you, by the way, for the thumbs up so far tonight. The longest cruise I have ever had. People are answering this poll question now. What have we got now? So far, we have 23 votes. So 43% are saying the longest cruise, Bruce, 7 days or less. 14 days or less, 39% of you. 21 days or less, 4%. And over 21 days, 13% have been on. It looks like about 4 of you, 3 or 4 of you, have taken a cruise more than 21 days long. For Jen and I, we have had a series of cruises. We've done several one-week cruises. We did do I believe we did an 11-day cruise on Royal Caribbean, and on the Cunard voyage. We went from New York to Southampton. That was 7 days. Stayed on the ship and did a 12-day UK cruise, a Scottish cruise, Scottish Isle cruise. So that gave us a 19-day extended cruise, just under 3 weeks. Same room, same ship. And then on the way back from Hamburg to New York, that was a 10-day crossing. So we did do 29 days on the Queen Mary 2, but that was broken up with some travel in Europe. But now that we've done a 19-day consecutive cruise, we find that if we have enough stops, it's quite enjoyable, but it's also enjoyable having 2 or 3 sea days to kind of break it up. And I can understand with this 162-day itinerary, this would make sense. This could actually work. There are only 2 or 3 segments where you have 5 days, 5 days, and 6 days at sea. Most of the time, it's 1 or 2 days only at sea, and you have another stop. And if you're stopping in a port for a couple of days, now you can get your land legs back a little bit, and then off you go. And of course, depending on where you get off the ship, obviously, if you need some Listerine, or you want some toothpaste, you don't want to pay ship prices, you'll wait until you get to Sydney. I would buy my caffeine-free Diet Coke in Sydney if I want it. Not that I can't get soda on board the ship, but if I want caffeine free, I'm going to have to find it there. But to buy some souvenirs and stuff, of course, you got to make sure to um, when you leave the ship that you can carry everything off, because 162 days you become a pack rat and you acquire stuff. Be careful. Don't arrive on the ship fully packed. Arrive on the ship 3/4 packed. Leave a quarter to add stuff, because you're talking 5+ months to buy items from there. Anyway, there you go. Thank you all for being here. Let's see what we got here. Sylvia, laughing on Bruce, you're doing your pronunciation good, even with the accents. Sharon, we were in this Alaska July, found that it was very disheartening or very disorienting. Cruise ship nights, going on a 14-day cruise to Panama Canal, 2026, right on. Yes, these Panama Canal cruises are usually 14 to 16, 18 days, depending on the number of stops. Hopefully you'll have a wonderful time. I'm sure you will, and you'll get a real kick out of it. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening from wherever you are. And if you're watching on the rerun, thank you. Give us a thumbs up if you can, and help the thumbs up meter. We do appreciate it. Thank you all for joining me and filling in the poll question today, for taking that. A couple more votes just trickled through. Appreciate that. Have yourselves a great rest of the week and get ready for the holidays. I will see you next Monday, the 23rd of December. I am sure you're going to be scrambling, but like us, but we'll be on the air next week. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Sharon, thank you. You have a great week yourself. We'll see you next Monday night, everybody, and we'll bring you whatever news is pertinent, and talk about the holidays coming up. Spend some time with you. In the meantime, all the best to all of you from around the world who watch me, and say hi to Jen and I. Take care, TBB, and Jen. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Shane. Happy holidays. If you can't join us next week, everybody, take care, Bruce and Jen. Thank you, Sylvia. All the best to your families and your friends, all your relatives, all your coworkers, and all your fellow travelers. And we'll see you here next Monday, the 23rd of December, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Take care, everybody, and good night.